Hello and salutations. Yes, it's my face, but no, it doesn't involve food. It involves showing you something that showed up in the mail today. It is I, the OGGM, with his crappy camera. It's about 1:30 on the 7th day of July, 2022. It's 68 degrees, and bam! This showed up in the mail today. Yes, it is the second edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Player's Handbook of the famous $20 reprints that Drive-Thru is doing. Why is it paperback instead of hardbound? Because my DM's guide was hardbound? I don't know. I know they switched printing companies recently, which is why some of the prices for the print on demand have gone up. So I'm gonna guess that the DM's guide that I got a couple weeks ago was printed under the old printer and they just had them in stock. And this was printed under the new printer, which means that for the same price, I got the book, but in paperback. Also, it looks kind of different. Looks like they cleaned up a lot of stuff. So I don't know if this is an accurate, it does have the original Bard class in it, 100% reprint or a slightly modified reprint, because it does look kind of cleaned up. And there is some filigree and stuff that I don't remember from the original Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Player's Handbook. Why did I get this? Am I saying Advanced Dungeons & Dragons is better than 5th edition? Well, in some cases, yes. Advanced D&D is better than 5th edition. In some cases, no. No, it's not. You know whose name's not on here? Gary Gygax. You know whose name is on here? Zeb Cook. Yeah, interesting. So I guess this was made after Gygax and D&D parted ways. I don't know. I leave the uncovering of the history of Gygax and D&D to DM Bloodworth. If you want to know the facts about anything with Gygax and D&D, go to his site. If you want to listen to somebody who's talking utter bullshit about Gygax, then you know whose site you can go to. But yes, I ordered this because while there are many of things in here that I think are better than 5e, there are also many things I think 5e does better than this edition of Dungeons & Dragons. So, yeah, but, you can't beat $20 for this, even if it is a reprint and even if it has obviously been changed. I can see a lot of changes, like for some reason wizard spells are in the back under an appendix. I don't remember them being in an appendix before. I've got a PDF of the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons original. But yeah, how awesome is this? And good shape. I mean, for paperback, I would have preferred hardback. Looks good. As far as I know, everything is in here. That's the same. Art looks same or similar. Not a lot of wasted space on art, which I appreciate. It does have weapons and non-weapon proficiencies, which apparently were in Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, and I just did not remember them. I had this discussion with DM Bloodworth like a year ago or 2 years ago about non-weapon proficiencies and skills in 2nd edition, and I was like, oh, you know what I loved about 3rd edition was they finally included skills. And he was like, there were skills in 2nd edition. And I was like, there were? I don't remember them. Let me look at my 2nd edition character. So I dug through my files and tried to find my 2nd edition version of my character, and what do you know? They were in there. So yes, and we've got the original Bard, the hardcore Bard, the original 551 Bard in here. We've got Thief in here. This is when they were still called Thieves. Some people have pointed out that in Stranger Things, the character refers to a rogue, but if they're playing this Dungeons & Dragons that was out in 1986, they weren't called a rogue yet. They would have been called a thief. So somebody pointed out that mistake. I was like, I don't care. It's free press for Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. Advanced Dungeons & Dragons is the game they're playing on Stranger Things, not 5th edition. This is Gygax's Legacy, not 5th edition. Anyways, I couldn't turn this down. $20. I mean, considering my last copy of the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons stuff went up in fire because they were being stored at my parents' house. And my parents were victims of the 2018 California fires. my entire D&D collection and hundreds of other games that I had stored in their house because at the time I didn't have room where I was living were in their attic, gone. So I am slowly replacing everything I lost, plus adding to things that I've always wanted, and then there's definitely a few things I've bought that I wished I didn't buy, sort of like, why is this necessary? But, I've been trying to replace my collection, and this was definitely missing. Will I get the Monster Manual as well? I don't know. I think there's other things I'd rather spend money on for the next one. There's a couple. I mean, I'd love to get a copy of the Castle and Crusade stuff. Since it is Gygax's legacy. Castle and Crusades is Gygax's legacy, not 5e. So yeah, there you go. Check it out. How awesome is this? The Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Player's Handbook in paperback. Looks pretty good. We'll see how long it lasts. I mean, how often am I going to get to use this unless somebody runs their Advanced A&D and wants me to run it? God, could you imagine how hard it would be to backwards think as a DM for Advanced Dungeons & Dragons after playing and running 5e for so long? I played 5th edition yesterday, and still, I don't see what the issue is. I mean, maybe 5e players have changed, but there wasn't anybody there with green hair. There wasn't anybody there who was whining and complaining about agency or what my character could or could not do. It was just a bunch of guys and one girl who just wanted to have a good time being goofy and fight a giant shark and, celebrating each other's, successes and bemoaning everybody's failures and, just how awesome it is. We're fighting a giant shark. He's going to backstab a shark. No matter what happens, he can go down in history saying he backstabbed a shark. And then somebody else going, dude, I'm going to ride the shark. And, exploding the shark's stomach. It was awesome. So, yeah, it's hard for me to say anything negative about 5e, the system, if you have good players. But then there's, a couple idiots out there that we know who just make 5e awful. Anyways, yeah, Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, Player's Handbook, 2nd edition. Check it out. I'm going to put it in the shelf with all my other stuff. I got this on drive-thru. I know, apparently I'm supposed to be boycotting drive-thru because of what they did to Venger and what they did to Red Room and how they're becoming all woke and censoring, and I've made other videos about that. But really, it was the only place I could find that. So, yeah, getting the D&D books for $20 plus $4 in shipping, and it only took 2 weeks to get here. It's worth it. I mean, whatever drive-throughs politics are right now, that's the topic of a separate video, which I may or may not address at some point in time. But it was there, and I got it. And you can get it too. Paperback now. I don't know why. I think there is a more expensive hardback version, but, $20 plus $4 in shipping for that. Worth it! See you later.